never try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me.
All right, and we are here for the finals of the Battle for Glory here at Nerdz Cafe. This is the first Battle for Glory that we've had here. Yep. So it's quite a wonderful experience to get out and play and see all these amazing, incredible players that we've had here at the store today. For the finals, we have AJ running his Titans, and we have Ryan running his bounty build of Orcs. Players are just finishing up their sideboarding right now, and we will get into the game shortly. Pointing out as well, I'm here with Taylor Howe. Taylor obviously is the creator of Legion's Realms at War. He's here helping me out with statistics and cards and pretty much everything that I don't know myself. Judging today, we have Malik. Malik will be helping our players with any rules questions. And it looks like we're getting almost finished up. It looks like
they're sideboarding right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're still sideboarding.
Looks like Ryan's already on his sideboard, but AJ's trying to do a sideboard to counteract Ryan's bounty orcs. So this is the first time we're actually seeing orcs in a final match at any large-scale tournament, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
If you can call the deck orc, I don't know.
That's a bit of a controversial topic, I feel, within the player pool today, is can we call this an orc deck, or can we call this a bounty deck? We are not seeing this area. We are seeing Viviana. We are...
Yeah, so typically Ryan this whole weekend he has been running Serena Sada as the Guardian, and now he's using Viviana as the Guardian. So he did just choose to sideboard her in this match because I think it's just that the search for that first turn welcome to Alberton, so he can guarantee that he doesn't just get that one shot from Titan.
Yeah, AJ's Titan deck is so crucial to getting that one turn popping off, piercing that veil early, and eradicating as much as physically possible in order to get that OTK. So it's crucial for Ryan to have that Viviana, to get that welcome for Alberton, to allow him to stay alive going into the middle half of the game.
Okay, as they shuffled up here, they're rolling to see who goes first. A lot of people always talk about how Titan is the deck that, because it is our quintessential boogeyman, that it oftentimes comes down to a dice roll with Titans. Now, I mean, if your opponent is ready for that Titan match, people would argue that it's not. It doesn't come down to that dice roll, just because. If you know what your opponent's playing, you know they're going to play that Prometheus push hard, deal damage Titan, then you can prepare for it, and the dice roll really doesn't matter much.
Yeah. On that dice roll, it does look like AJ has beat Ryan. Ryan grabbing his hand first, so it looks like Ryan will be going first.
It does, yeah. And typically, unlike other games, Titans want to definitely go second when they can, because they're the aggressor. And if first turn you can't battle, so Titans want to be able to do that on their opening turn. So we do have a question here in the stream. It is not a best of 3. We gave the players an option to do a best of 3 for this final match, but they decided that they were just going to do a best of 1. That's what we've been running most of the tournament. It's just a way to make sure that games move along pretty quickly, so we allow them to pre-sideboard in a best of 1 situation.
Mm-hmm. AJ picking up his hand now, deciding if he likes it or not.
Yeah, looks like he's choosing 4 cards to put back with Serena Sada, while Ryan goes and searches for that quintessential welcome to Alberton.
Welcome to Alberton that we see him searching for on the battlefield now.
Yeah, that's the exact reason why he switched to the Viviana to get that.
And this is definitely why he wants to go first as well.
Yep.
AJ putting those cards to the bottom with Serenasada. see how this pans out.
So Ryan has his Warlord and his Veil Realm switched. So he just put a countdown counter on his Warlord instead of his Veil, but we'll see if he catches that or not.
Setting lots of fortifieds over on Ryan's side.
And it looks like Ryan's going to start off with an M-Sheller Isles. And he's just going to mill, and there's no target card on the opponent's side of the field to shuffle back, but he's just doing it to try and get cards out of his deck. So it looks like he milled a Kakabel, the Golden Star Child.
And I think I saw another Welcome in there as well.
Yeah, he played the Welcome off the start.
He played the Welcome,
yeah,
yes.
and so now he's just putting it on the board there, and that's what we do to represent that a Welcome to Alberdun is active, just to remind a player.
And just a reminder what that Welcome for Alberdun does. It prevents the combat damage, the battle damage that Ryan will be taking until he starts his next turn.
Yes.
So that is crucial against playing
aggressive Titan
decks and the other aggressive matchups where you want that safety net in case they decide to go off on their first turn.
Exactly, yeah. And Welcome to Alberdun also it does reduce your damage counter max by 5. He hasn't any damage, and then both players would have drew a card. So that's why AJ's starting with a mitt full of cards here.
Yeah. Looks like we're over to AJ's turn now.
And AJ's playing a Pandora's Box.
Pandora's Box blowing up.
This is crucial here, is that we want to make a reference point here. This is we decided to go that these are going to be pre-errata cards because the erratas are coming in Frontiers. They're effective as of July 22nd on Frontiers release. So this is a pre-errata Pandora's Box. So this will destroy all fortified cards on the field.
Ryan responding with that Magic Void Hollow.
Yes. So key thing to mention is that Magic Void Hollow does not negate. It only stops the unified cards for the remainder of the turn. And so, but key thing is Magic Void Hollow needs to target a card on the field to destroy. So because he's targeting a card, AJ's able to play the Prometheus Sacrifice that negates the target. So it will force the negation of the Magic Void Hollow. But it looks like Ryan coming in with a key tech there. Magic Moonlight Promenade. Do you know what that does, Hunter?
That is a card that I have not seen played very much. Can you tell me what it does?
So Magic Moonlight Promenade, the key thing here, and as you can see, he had another one set too, that he intentionally put in the deck for the matchup against Titan.
So we're assuming he sided that in then.
No, he's actually been main decking it all day because it also does really well against demons.
Okay.
Because the way demons are currently played right now with the Magic Mask 3-Eyed Dark, the key thing is the Magic Moonlight Promenade skips your reinforced phase.
Right, yes.
So you don't pay the cost off of the Magic Mask. Otherwise, it makes it so he only takes 5 damage this turn.
That's really good.
When you activate a Moonlight Promenade. So it's almost like a pseudo Welcome to Alberdun. So what do you see here, AJ playing?
Alright, AJ is...
Looks like he activated a Titan's Tumble.
Titan Tumble, and he will be eradicating the... I believe it's a Primordial card.
Yeah. So Titan's Tumble is a pay 10.
Yes.
Eradicate up to 2 cards from your hand and up to 2 cards from your deck, and then draw 2.
And then you will draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Really good for thinning out the deck. Really good for ironing out those draws that AJ needs into his pieces for his OTK when he is not under the Welcome anymore.
So the first thing he did is he eradicated the 1 card from hand, which was open the Primordial Pits.
Yes.
Which will get an eradication effect, and then he chooses to eradicate 2 1-power warriors, Menotheus, which is his Retaliate guy, as well as
Phoebe there, right?
Yep.
Phoebe is a very crucial part in Titans. It's a rare card. Does lots of really good.
Yeah. It has Wisdom and
Retrieve. Really good for getting back those pieces that you need, and really good for going deeper into the deck.
So let's see how many he chooses here. So he's got 2, 3, 4, 5.
2, 3, 4.
So he's choosing to use Open the Primordial Pits to eradicate the bottom 10 cards of his deck.
He is all in.
He is going all in. It's 2 warriors, 3 warriors.
And it looks like he has...
So 3 warriors, so he is the 3 minus the 1, so Ryan does take 2 damage from that.
Sorting out the cards that have those eradication effects, we see 2.
So he's just trying to figure out what he wants in his hand, because that Prometheus Sacrifice he could add to his hand if he pays Bloodborne 6.
Right.
So he hits a lot of cards that he can't use. Looks like he hits everything that he can't use. That was a really bad eradication.
Was a pretty big whiff on AJ's part.
Especially for 10 cards.
Interesting to see how that affects him going into the later portions of the game.
Like, Ryan's got to love seeing that. I mean, ultimately, you never really love seeing a lot of things going to the eradication zone, because if there's warriors there, he can bring them back. But
yeah,
I'm not getting any additional effects for a Titan player. It hurts them, and Ryan's looking pretty good doing that. So
it's also interesting to see AJ go for that full 10 while under the welcome. With a lot of those eradication effects going off, you have a lot going on that one turn. You would almost want to chain them together on a turn where you know you're going to win. So seeing AJ do that on a turn where he is under the welcome is probably a strategic move on his part, and we'll see if that pays out.
Exactly, yeah. And like Hunter was saying, there's a lot of those eradication effects usually have to do with increasing power of warriors, or trying to push for bigger damage or destroying cards on the field. Well, Ryan really doesn't have anything on the field for him to destroy, nor does AJ have warriors to power up. So going all in on that 10, it's probably just to try and thin his deck out to get the pieces that he needs.
So maybe he is happy about whiffing a little bit. Maybe he now has a lot of cards. He has a lot of cards in his deck now that do have those eradication abilities, that eradicating them on future turns, or if he continues this turn, depending on the resources he has left to be able to do that. We
see another Pits come down.
Another Pits come down. Will he go for the full 10 here?
Oh, yeah. And so this is another key part, because we're playing pre-errata. As of Frontiers, Open the Primordial Pits is seeing an alt-art reprint, and it's also seeing a hard once per turn.
And he is going in for the full 10 on this. We should see a number of effects going off. AJ's deck getting very thin. Seems like he's once again sorting out what has an eradication effect and what does not have an eradication effect.
So it looks like his warriors and cards that don't have eradication effects are going into one pile. He chooses not to pay the 6 to get the Prometheus Sacrifice, but he looks like he is going to get 5 eradication effects here.
And Ryan taking that 1 damage because AJ did eradicate 2
warriors with the
off
Pits.
Of the Pits.
Yeah. So he's getting 5 eradication effects. AJ's choosing his order of his stack of the eradication in case Ryan did ever response, but because AJ used the Pandora's box, there really is no response.
There really is no response in this sort of a situation, and that's not something that Ryan likes to see. The loss of his fortifieds definitely gives AJ a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah. So key thing to keep in count of is the fact that Ryan can still receive effect damage, in which we have already been seeing, right? However, he did flip the Moonlight Promenade, which means he can only take effect damage up to 5 this turn.
Yeah, AJ eradicating the top 4 off of the first ability.
Yep, off of the first Shackles.
Off of the first Shackles. Then we will have another Shackles.
Yep.
Also keeping track of more eradication effects.
Yep.
AJ also eradicating that Void Hollow.
Yep, and then another card adds onto the next stack. Then he's got his Moon. And so Moon is going to allow him to shuffle back 2 cards. Another key thing here, Moon is the one in the cards seeing the alt-art errata as well, which will no longer allow him to shuffle Bounty Realm cards back. So he's making full advantage of the current state of the card.
And he's shuffling in that Severed Connections and that Void Hollow that he just put into his eradication zone off of the Shackles. Yep. So AJ definitely managing his resources in that regard. We'll see how it plays out for him. Obviously, AJ offering the cuts, Ryan choosing not to.
Right. So now we see a Rise of the Banished Primordials, which when it's eradicated lets him add back a Titan Unified card back to his hand.
Let's see what he picks here.
So it looks like he's going to grab a Return of the Primordials, which is his Titan's Heal card.
Very crucial for him to be healing up, especially because he won't be winning this turn, and he is at 29. He's taken 29 damage already.
And then he uses the Offer and Tribute to the Primordials to let him get back a 4 or higher attack power warrior. So it looks like he grabs back a Themis, who's a 5 power vanilla. Now he's trying to figure out how to stack here. He has a Titan Temper, as well as it looks like Godly Treasures. So his Titan Temper he used first, then his Godly Treasures he paid 8 to draw 2 cards, and then the Gifts of Arion, which shuffles back and lets him draw 1 card. So he's really thinning down the deck and really managing his resources here.
You have to wonder how Ryan's feeling about all this. We see AJ
Oh,
playing.
it looks like Ryan just caught that he had his cards out of order. So I was wondering how long it was going to take him to do that. So it's good that he did that to represent proper game state.
Good job on Ryan's part here.
So we saw the draw one off of AJ's draw there, and it looks like he drew into a dismantle. So Titans do play the full playset of dismantle because they are a hyper-aggressive deck, and they hate those fortified cards.
Definitely. AJ trying to figure out what he wants to play next. He has quite a mitt full of cards still, as we can see.
So as you can see, Titan turns take a little bit longer because their deck is so combo heavy that they need to be able to cycle through what they can play. So we see a Shackles coming down here on activation. So he has to pay life, goes up to 40 damage. So he's already at half health on his first turn.
It's quite interesting to see AJ really going into it on this first turn, knowing that he's not able to win.
Well, I think part of the reason why he feels comfortable going heavily in is that he has to represent a good enough board state. So Ryan, in case Ryan tries to crack back, but also a big thing here is so Shackles revived a Phoebe, and then mills the top 4 cards. So he will get effects off of those if he wishes. Plus he gets Phoebe's effects. But like I was saying, he wants to put himself higher here in terms of damage because he did add that Return to the Primordials, which can only trigger after he's received 45 or more damage.
More damage, yes. So we see AJ buffing his board a little bit.
Yep.
Passing it back to Ryan, it looks like.
And AJ's talking about how upset he is about he's stuck onto that Welcome to Alberdun, so he can't really do much.
AJ discarding down to hand size?
I don't know if he's passing the turn quite yet.
Oh, he was probably motioning towards the welcome then.
Yeah, he was motioning towards the Welcome to Alberdun and saying how frustrated he was about that. So it looks like he's playing a Gifts of Arion, paying 5 more life.
Having some issues with that life counter there.
Being able to add back 2 Titan cards from Eradication. So this is like a reverse search. With Titans, the Eradication Zone is much like having a second hand.
Oh yeah, definitely. We see a lot of Legions within this game using different zones as their second hand. We see a lot of Undead players using those. Discard piles, we see a lot of Titan players using those Eradication Zones. So AJ being able to stack his Eradication Zone and his deck and having his hand.
And that's the crucial part. He made it to that all-important 45, so we can activate the Return to the Primordials, which is going to eradicate the top 4 cards of his deck.
That's another Artemis Moon, it looks like. So he will
have another shuffle back. He also has a Strength of Atlas, which can increase a warrior on the field by 3, but it's irrelevant because he can't deal damage.
Yeah.
So it looks like the Artemis Moon is going to shuffle 2 things. Cards back.
AJ weighing his decisions here.
Yeah. And he ultimately does get to heal off of that Return to the Primordials. So we'll see how much he heals based on the amount of Eradication cards. So we'll see how he resolves this here.
His Eradication Zone looking larger than his deck at this point.
Yep.
If I would have to say. So
like
it
I
looks
said,
like he will be healing quite a bit.
Exactly. Titans do have that ability to burn through their deck, but as you can see, like burning through your deck burns through all your resources. And if you can't, that's your pure concept of a glass cannon deck, right?
Definitely, yeah.
It has a lot of power, but it gets hit once and then it kind of crumbles.
So AJ definitely managing setting 4 cards in his fortified zone. Weighing his decisions once more. Ryan patiently awaiting.
So it looks like AJ chose either not to heal or he didn't have the right cards to heal.
Looks like AJ's remembering to heal.
He's remembering it here now.
AJ going all the way down to 17
from 45. Yeah,
from 45.
Because Return of the Primordials heals for the amount of primordial cards in the Eradication Zone. So
and AJ, obviously running a Primordial Titan deck, has a lot of those primordial cards in his Eradication Zone right now. Also setting 2 Unifieds on the field on AJ's side.
So I think a crucial part up here, people would wonder why he chooses to set Unified cards, but because Ryan's build is heavily based on pits, like Pits of the Outer Rim, which requires to blow up 4 targets. AJ's trying to give there be more targets there. So Ryan starts his turn and goes with another Welcome to Alberdun.
AJ not very happy to see that.
No, especially after burning through most of his resources. And then Ryan chooses to use M. Schiller Isles, milling 1 Bounty Realm card, and then therefore shuffling 1 card on the field back into the owner's deck.
AJ not having to shuffle too many cards currently. You can see his deck is about maybe 15 cards at most. He has burned through a lot of his resources.
Titans usually play a 60-card deck just because of that situation where you're going to burn through a lot of your resources. Playing 50 is too fragile.
Yeah. So it kind of mitigates that glass cannon effect just a little bit.
So right here we see it looks like Ryan sets a fortified card after shuffling a card back and then passes the turn to AJ, knowing he's under that Welcome to Alberton. So he just ultimately can't receive battle damage yet again. So like I said, you're not your typical orcs. Like, yeah,
definitely.
Have we even seen an orc card yet? I don't think everything has been played as all
we have yet to see an orc card come from Ryan.
AJ just pushing forward like, I want to attack, but I can't deal any damage to you.
Yeah, AJ once again not very happy about that welcome. From Ryan, we see about I believe he said 15 cards in his deck. Around that number are orc cards. We have yet to see one out of his deck during this match. He's been playing a lot of those cards we saw out of Bountiful Harvest, as well as some of the bounty cards we saw in Ravaged Lands. Definitely an interesting archetype to see. An almost pure bounty deck, especially in the finals of a tournament such as this. Taylor, how do you feel?
So this here, key thing here, Hunter, is that Ryan goes to start his turn, pierces the veil, no orc warriors on the field to power up. But then Ryan then proceeds to try and activate an M. Scheller Isles, and AJ responds with a Drain the Magic Quarry. Now, as a hero player, you're all too familiar with this card.
Oh, I am not very happy about having Drain the Magic Quarry played against me. That allows AJ to pay a little bit of his alchemy points, and that will eradicate all of the unifieds
in all players' discard piles.
All players' discard piles. Obviously, eradicating is something that AJ wants to do for himself. Ryan does not want his unifieds eradicated.
No, because as you can see, it eradicates his Welcome to Alberton, so Ryan won't be able to recycle those now.
Yeah, and recycling that welcome is so crucial to the consistency of Ryan's deck.
Yeah.
So for him to be now going down to presumably one more Welcome to Alberton that he has in his deck, if he's running 3 of them. Now that he has those 2 in the eradication zone, it's going to be interesting to see how he's able to.
Now Miss can shuffle those cards back.
Miss can shuffle those cards back, and we can assume that he's running.
So big thing here too to keep in mind is that Drain the Magic Quarry not only hurts opponents but really helps Titans, because it eradicates the unified cards that you've already played, and then you can get their eradication effects, which AJ's doing right now. So he's shuffling a card back into the deck with the Gifts of Arion to let him draw a card, and then
he also has a Pandora's Box on the board there.
Exactly. So that looks like it's going to get its eradication effect as well. And you know what the eradication effect of Pandora's Box is?
Oh man, I played against AJ very early this morning. I think I can't remember off the top of my head.
So Pandora's Box, when it's eradicated, it eradicates the top 2 cards of both players' decks.
Yes, I do remember that. I do not like it, especially when we hit 2 of my much needed armament cards in my hero deck.
So it looks like, both cards. So it looks like he hit a Pitts and
a warrior.
Yeah, and a warrior. It looks like his Rampage warrior. So those were 2 big hits off the top of the deck.
Finally seeing an orc card come out of Ryan's deck, though.
Exactly, yeah.
Unfortunately not on the board, but rather in his eradication zone. But we now know that Ryan definitely is playing orcs today. Up to you guys at home if it's if we can call it orcs. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, we see a second Acolyte. Or either a second or a first. Looks like it's a second Acolyte come down here of the Reliquary. Do you know what that does? Nobody plays that card.
Nobody plays that card.
So he's playing it in a large tournament here, and he's in second place right now going into this event. He's like, he's going for the final match here, and that Acolyte's crucial because it has a mechanic. It has a perish effect that when it dies, he can add back any ancient relic from his discard pile back to his hand. So you know that his target's going to be sort of sacrificed with that.
Definitely, yes.
So it looks like Ryan then played a Magic Mass 3-Eye Dark to try and burn AJ some damage, and AJ responded with an Artemis Moon. So Artemis Moon is going to allow him to eradicate 2 warriors on his side of the field, and they come back at the start of the turn, or at the end of his turn.
And that would get around that magic mask.
Yeah. So the magic mask would then get eradicated with the warrior.
Yeah. Yet another crucial resource that Ryan is losing during this game.
And then a key part is that Artemis Moon reconscripts the warrior, so it'll conscript Phoebe, and Phoebe will proc her ability.
Phoebe will get those abilities one more time for AJ. AJ looking in a pretty good spot right now. Ryan probably feeling a little nervous at this point.
there's no Alberdun out there to save him this time around, so
Yeah.
we'll see if AJ has the ability to push for game. Here's a severed connection to blow up a Pride of the Orcbane. Oh, and then we see a Blessed by Brackus Waters that is then
Getting
followed up
dismantled.
with a Dismantle. Crucial.
You wonder if Ryan's almost hanging up the towel at this point.
Now,
on AJ's
key
turn
thing
here.
to remember, Brackus Waters can be activated in the discard pile.
Right.
So he can eradicate it, but this is the one downside to playing Viviana. Now, he typically plays Serena Sada for that 80 AP pool because he relies on his Brackus Waters, but because he needed to get that Welcome to Albert on turn 1, getting the Viviana off the start of the game was what he needed, but now it's going to hurt him late game with that with that Brackus Waters because he's not going to have as much Consume to play with.
Yes, we did require the deck list registrations today for the tournament.
Yeah, so all deck lists were registered for the tournament today.
And we did make sure all the decks were legal, so no errors in the deck building between AJ and Ryan. You wouldn't think AJ and Ryan would make very many mistakes in building their deck either. They're both very experienced players, been playing this game since its inception. Longer than myself, definitely, so it's an honor to be commentating this game.
So we see here on AJ's turn, he plays the Primordial Steel and Godly Treasures. So now he's choosing, he has to eradicate 2 cards from his hand. So he chooses to eradicate his Veil Pierce card because it's irrelevant at this point. And eradicate Offer and Tribute to the Primordials, which is going to let him revive a Titan Warrior with the attack of 4 more. So he chooses to go and grab a Cleminian here. So another 5-power warrior. To answer your question, because these are great events that we're running in larger scale tournaments, but because we're not in our official tournament season that doesn't start and come into effect until August, tournament deck lists will not be published on the website until we start our actual tournament season in August.
And more information on that tournament season will be coming out with the onset of Frontiers in the summer. So definitely be on the lookout for what kind of information Taylor and the team has coming out. We have
a lot of stuff in the works for when we get into the Die Hard tournament play. So here we see a Gifts of Arion coming down. So then it's going to cost him 5 life here to get back 2 Titan cards from Eradication Zone.
AJ going up to 23. I think he's weighing his options here. 22. He must have some issues with that counter today. It looks like he's been needing to fix that every once in a while.
So the thing here is that you have to wonder, with little resources left in AJ's deck, and Titans benefiting off of eradicating cards to gain power, it makes you wonder if he's going to have enough to put damage through a warrior and to be able to do an additional 62 damage.
Yeah. It's definitely...
Now, Titans can definitely get there. One major thing is to keep in mind is that he always has that pantheon of unstoppable power.
Definitely.
They give it 2 warriors plus 10, but it does require him to have at least 10 cards in his deck left to activate, so I don't even know if he has that.
Drawing another card, it doesn't look like he has those cards left. I'm not sure how much Titans run shuffling back into the deck. It doesn't feel like a
outside
very
of
Titan
Moon,
thing.
they don't really have
outside
much.
of Artemis's Moon.
Yep.
Not really. So you wonder, can AJ even use that? Playing the
Strength of Atlas
here.
So yeah, playing the Strength of Atlas, he didn't go through the deck because he already knows, him and Ryan already discussed that he does not have any warriors left in the deck to pull into the Eradication Zone with Strength of Atlas, so now he just gets to revive any Titan from his eradication zone to his side of the field. And so he chooses to conscript or revive Phoebe, and then Phoebe will add back that Strength of Atlas and then Wisdom of a card. So once again, he continues to lower his deck count. So you have to get to the point now where I don't think that Pantheon is live.
It looks like he may only have a handful of cards left in that deck. I don't believe that Pantheon is a threat anymore.
So now you got Phoebe crashing into the Acolyte. It doesn't look like Ryan has a relic in there to retrieve, so he gets a fizzle on that. And then he plays the Strength of Atlas to bring back a 5-power warrior and give it 6 attack till the end of the turn. So AJ is really pulling on all threads here to see if he can put damage through, because he doesn't have access to that Pantheon.
AJ definitely trying to pull as much of his resources out to threaten lethal against Ryan here. If we don't see AJ pulling lethal this turn, he's definitely not going to fare as well.
Well, and remember, keep in mind, Ryan still has that Brachus Waters in the discard pile he can activate. So
right.
Unless AJ can put together some sort of monster damage, Ryan will get another turn here.
Definitely, yes. And Ryan taking 10 damage, going up to 13 here. Through 2 of the
5-power
attacking. AJ still with those 3 boosted attackers.
Yep, and as a boosted attacker attacks, here comes Ryan's Brachus Waters. Eradicating the Brachus Waters to let him bring back 2 Bounty Realm Warriors, revive 2 Bounty Realm Warriors from his discard pile. So he's just trying to decide here. It looks like he's bringing back a Kakabel for sure, and a Magic Guide to the Darkwoods. So now that the board state changes, he has to choose if he's going to redeclare attacks or not. But Kakabel comes in with a gust and bounces one of the warriors off the field that had the power boost.
Looks like Ryan not activating the charisma on.
No, he's
Kakabel.
choosing not to. I don't think he has any cards in hand actually. And then Magic Guide of the Darkwoods dies, gets a perish effect that would normally let him add back any magic Bounty Realm card in either player's discard piles to his hand, but I don't think there is any in either player's discard pile. Oh, look who joined our...
Hey, Vetflix is in the stream. Vetflix, a very wonderful content creator for this wonderful game that we've all been playing here at Nerdz Cafe today. You should go check him out. He does streams
Facebook live streams at least 2 to sometimes 3 times a week. But Legions is his primary game he covers, but he does cover a lot of new other games, which is great. We always want to support, that rising tide raises all ships, right? So
yeah, definitely. Vetflix, we got Taylor commentating, and then commentating as well is myself, because I did not make the top 4 cut today. A little bit sad about that, but once again, awesome getting to play any games that I can with these incredible people here today.
But you have to say, man, we got Hunter here beside me. The heroes did not fare so well this tournament, despite being almost half the field.
Yeah, we had Jasper playing heroes in the top 4 today. We had I was playing heroes today. We had
it looks like that's it. It looks like AJ pulled it off. Ryan did not have
quickly.
Yeah, like you saw the Kakabel come in, bounce a guy, dies, but there was no and look at, and Ryan was saying, he's like, all I needed was 1 Orc card to be an engine, and he didn't see it. And ironically, as he flips the top card of his deck over, it was the Sildud's card.
Was that one
that would have started his Orc part of the engine. The fact that Ryan survived that long on a Bounty Realm engine alone was not surprising, but it goes to his pure skill. Well, guys, thanks for coming in and watching.
Yeah, thank you for coming and joining us today. If you've been watching all day today, if you're just here for the finals, wonderful players that we've had in the pool today. Big thank you goes out to all of the members of the Future Lore Studios team for allowing this tournament to go on today. Big thank you goes out to our flagship store, Nerdz Cafe. Big thank you to all of our players today. AJ, Ryan playing in the finals here on stream.
And it looks like AJ is going to take home another large-scale tournament win.
Yeah.
Will there be a guy that takes this guy down? We'll have to see.
AJ definitely the one to beat today. Bringing in all the power that he needed. Is this man going to be stopped? We'll have to see in these future tournaments that we're holding.
Yeah. So it looks like
coming months.
Yeah, it looks like next month. Just for everybody to know, next month we're gonna hammer out the date. We believe it's gonna be June 25th. But don't quote me on that just yet. But we're gonna have another Battle for Glory tournament here at Nerdz, and then the following month is Frontiers release.
Frontiers release. Definitely excited to see the rest of the Frontier spoilers that are going up on the Legion's Facebook page and the Legion's website. So definitely keep a lookout for those.
Make sure you check out the Shadow spoiler that was dropped today. It was actually a first-time Frontiers rare.
We had our very first rare spoiled today, alongside a couple more of the uncommon cards that we've been seeing over the past couple of days. We have a lot of spice coming. Make sure you check out in the coming weeks our content creators spoiling the Renowns and the Exalteds, culminating with Louis spoiling that all
major piece, the
all
Elysian.
major piece, that Elysian. We don't know who's getting the Elysian yet. We don't know what it does. If you've taken a look at some of the cards, apparently it's been mentioned, so there's definitely hints out there for you people interested in the lore. I definitely know I'm one of those lore people. I know Vetflix is a lore person. I know we have a number of lore people who are digging, but ultimately have not come up to figure out that Elysian yet. So looking forward to what we have going on in the future here. Thank you again for joining us today.
And we will make sure we post some pictures on social media from today's event. We had a decent turnout. We had 10 players from the local area come down to play in the first Battle for Glory tournament, so that's great. And yeah, to answer your question there, Dominic, is that five champions for AJ? No, he won this one. And then the 4K that we did as
he
well.
He won Bountiful, right?
He won the Bountiful release, so that's 3. And then
the initial.
No, he didn't
launch?
He didn't win the release event. I think that only puts him as a 4-time champion after today. So
AJ is a 4-time champion after today. Once again, definitely the one to beat in this game. Definitely as well looking for the American field to.
Yes, that's something like Dominic said there. Wait until the U.S. joins the battle. So we can't wait for that when we roll out that competitive scene for all of our stores, both in Canada, United States, but also over in Europe and over in Asia now. So the game is definitely growing and spreading, and this is something to keep a lookout for. As Frontiers and then into Empires, we have so much stuff coming out. With a 4-product release next year, potentially a 5th, we have something spicy.
Oh, that's interesting. Be on the lookout for that, definitely.
For those of you who kept around long enough to hear that. So anyways,
we're going to be signing off today.
Signing off today. Yep.
Taylor Hunter, thank you for coming out today, everyone. Thank you for watching.
And welcome to the game for those of you who are new, but also continue on in the Battle of Glory.
Yeah, definitely. Be the warlord your Legion needs you to be. That is definitely words to live by right there. Taylor and Hunter.